to order the 26th meeting of the Mayor and City Council, meeting in regular session on Monday, February 25th, 2019. We will have the invocation led by Reverend Warren Litchfield, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mayor Mo.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we gather this evening hour to conduct the business of this city. We offer prayer for our mayor, for the president, for the members of the city council, and for all in authority. Grant to them a sense of justice, strength, and wisdom. They perform their duty in behalf of all thy people. We commend this city, this county, this state, this nation, and thy people to thy merciful care and understanding. Remember those who lie upon a bed of affliction, comfort those who mourn. In the name of the one who is Lord of life, we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Rao, please call the roll.
Mr. DeWalt?
Here.
Mr. Sidnor?
Here.
Ms. Nicholas?
Here.
Mr. Les?
Here.
President Smalls?
Here.
Mayor Mo?
Agenda item 2 is approval of the minutes for the 25th meeting of February 11th, 2019. Council, if there are no edits or additions, I'll accept a motion to approve.
Move for approval.
Thank you, Councilman Les. Is there a second?
A second, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Sidnor. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Rao, please call the roll.
Mr. Les?
Yes.
Mr. Sidnor?
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes. Agenda item 3 is appointments. Mayor Mo, you want? Okay. Please.
Joe Murchison, Chair. Zabrina Epps, Vice Chair. Alan Grimes, Maria Gonzales Jackson, Erica King, Carol Nash, Ayele Negussie, Toy Davis, Ryan Reed, Davonia Bryant.
If you're in the audience, would you please stand? These are the nominees for our Education Committee. Now, in order for those applause to really mean something, Council, I'd like to ask for your confirmation. So I'll entertain a motion to confirm.
So moved, Mr. President.
Is there a second?
A second, Mr. President, but can we they identify themselves?
All right, we'll start with you, sir. Behind you. And behind you? Sure. Okay. Mr. Murchison? Ms. Epps? Thank you. Is that? Okay. All right. Now, thank you.
Mr. President, we need to call the roll.
Yes. Thank you.
Mr. Les?
Yes.
Mr. Sidnor?
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes. Agenda item 4 is an update on the lower Laurel Lake. Would you please identify yourself, your name and address, please, for the record?
Yeah. Want to push this? All right, Christina.
Yeah.
Christina Bigby, Outreach Coordinator for the Clean Water Partnership. Address?
Yes, please.
Address 7659 South Aubrey Lane, Laurel, Maryland 20707.
Thank you.
So fairly close.
Welcome.
So thank you for having me today. And Joanne from Parks and Recreation invited us to give you an update on the construction and the stormwater project, water and quality improvement project at Lower Laurel Lake. Everyone, all of the council members should have received this. This provides some background information. The Clean Water Partnership was here about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years ago, but I do see some new faces here. So I wanted to make sure everyone received this. It has frequently asked questions and description of the type of work we do. So before I give an update, I'll just give a brief overview for those who may not know of what we're actually doing here. The Clean Water Partnership is a public-private partnership between Corvius and Prince George's County Department of the Environment to treat MS4, which Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System requirements. Basically water quality, not as in what you drank, but as far as dirt, oil, anything that when you have stormwater runoff, it snows, it rains. We've gotten a lot of that lately. All the oils, pet waste, it runs into the storm drain system that gets into our waterways. It gets into the lower Laurel Lake and runs into the bay. So we're cleaning that up by adding some best management practices. What we're doing at Laurel Lake, at Goodie Park, are 4 bays. We're adding 3 4 bays. These 4 bays are considered a best management practice because they've been tried and true. And what they do is they filter a lot of that, what we do not want going into our waterways. So the oil from cars that are there at the park or there at the executive park or the restaurants or trash that may flow in there, it helps clean that up and it collects in the 4 bay. And then the Clean Water Partnership comes out and cleans out that 4 bay. So instead of having to dredge the lake like they had to do at the upper lake a few years ago, you will just we'll clean out these 4 bays periodically, and that will help keep the waterways clean, the lake clean as well. So that's the construction that you see there. Of course, in order to do that work, we had to drain it, which is why it's empty, because we had to drain it so that we can actually do the work. As far as an update, we started in about December of 2018, and we're scheduled to be complete before boating season so everybody can go on the paddle boats, which will be by May 1st. That's weather permitting. So 2 4 bays have already been started. That's the one at Laurel Executive Park right there on Cherry Lane. And then there's a 4 bay on Oxford Drive. Those 2 4 bays have been started and are expected, we're on schedule despite the precipitation, and are scheduled to be complete mid-April, weather permitting. The third 4 bay, which is by the boathouse, is scheduled to start this week. So they've already started putting up safety fencing. It will not prohibit people from using the lake house. We have a path there as well. And that is scheduled also to be done complete in mid-April, weather permitting. Every time it snows or rains, we have to kind of redrain the lake so that we can work on it. And that is an update of where we are right now with the lake. Additionally, I just want to thank Parks and Recreation and the City of Laurel for their support with the Clean Water Partnership. I've seen lots of notices on Facebook page and on the website. I also noticed that there's a cleanup, that like a local grassroots cleanup that was organized. I did speak to Parks and Recreation, and we asked that we not do that cleanup at this time for safety reasons. We had our geotechnical engineers go out into the lake, and the pond bottom is not stable, which is where we see a lot of the plastic bottles, etc. The pond bottom is not stable. We actually had to bring in extra materials to stabilize where we're creating the 4 bays. So it's just not stable or safe to have anyone out there at this time. So we asked that we not do that cleanup, but after construction is complete, the Clean Water Partnership would like to help organize a cleanup, maybe bring out Prince George's County Litter Track app, which tracks the type of litter that you collect, and do an educational component and do a cleanup around the lake after construction. And that's it as far as my update. What questions do you have?
Council, any questions or comments?
I have a question, President.
Yes, sir.
I'll start with Councilman Les, then down to you, Councilman DeWalt.
I want to thank you for coming. I have the privilege of working with Chris,
Okay.
because he's my vice chair for the Patuxent River Commission. So we have a lot of dialogue.
So you know a lot about the program.
Well, a lot of dialogue about ways to clean up the watershed in the Patuxent River.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's still some issues that we're going to have to talk about in the future, which is all those fine particles that stay suspended in our watershed from the clay, especially from the mining that's been going on. My understanding that they stay suspended and they actually get into the bay also. And that's what causes the opaqueness of the waters. The light doesn't get to the bottom to all those fine things that grow on the bottom. But again, It's been a privilege working with Chris over the last couple of years. So I get that every month from Chris, and I appreciate your comment.
Thank you. And, we want to do what's good for the environment, so that's why this is
Right.
here. Additionally, the Clean Water Partnership is scheduled to maintain these devices that we install for the next 30 years.
Right.
So that may be a question that will come up.
Yeah, I think Chris told me that, which is important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman DeWalt?
Yes, I was out there about 3 weeks ago, and it was very, very dry before all that rain and all that stuff. And it was very, very dry, and I was able to go probably, I would say, from the old shoreline where you can obviously see where the trees and shrubbery and grass is. All the way from there, I was able to go out at least, and I have pictures of all that, at least 20 feet. And that area, I couldn't believe the amount and the mounds of trash and plastic bottles and road flares and road cones and signs and furniture. And I believe there was even at one point in time I heard they had taken a car out of the lake. But I couldn't believe the amount of trash that was out there. Now, before I posted the pictures on Facebook, I got a lot of response to people that wanted to help clean it. Now, last week I went out there on a Wednesday, and that was like 3 days of steady rain we had. And it was muddy. A lot of the trash now was covered by water. And but there was still a large portion of trash around the edges and up on the grassy knolls and in the bushes and stuff like that. In the event that it gets really, really dry again, do you have any plans on removing that particular mounds of trash before you let the water back in there and everything's done? Is there any plans of doing that? Because I was able to go out there. I was very confident in what I was stepping on, and it was very, very dry. Now, that last week, it wasn't so good.
Yeah. It can be, this is an excellent question. It can be a very tricky area because you think you can step, and then all of a sudden you take a second step and you sink really deeply. So the contractor that's out there will clean up anything in their direct area by those 4 bays or where they're working. They'll take up trash from there. But some of the areas you're talking about, like closer to the street that aren't directly in the area, they're not going to be able to go out there because it just hasn't been stable and they can't say from step to step if it's safe. For instance, when we first went out there, we had a guy go out there and he had his waders on, and a contractor, and he kind of sunk in a bit, and we had to help pull him out. So we just can't say for certain if it's a dry day or a semi-dry day how safe it will be, especially with the number of people.
You don't plan for that at all. If you get a period of 2 to 3 weeks being dry, you don't have any plans on trying to remove a large amount of that?
Only the scope of our work is for the construction that we're doing. So the contractors are scoped. They will do clean up in the area where they are working, but they aren't contracted or have the scope to do that elsewhere. I do know that Parks and Recreation, I believe, went out there at one point and they were trying to clean up a bit and they were going as far as they felt was safe as well.
Thank you.
Ms. Barr?
Yeah, that's correct. And we will continue with that method as they find it dry, and as our park superintendent feels that it's safe to go out. They are doing periodic checks, so pulling the debris out, and most of it is around where the bus shelter is over into that area. They took 16 bags out the first day that they were able to get in there. And they've identified some other things that are in the center of the lake. But certainly at this time, as Ms. Bigby had said, they don't feel that it's safe enough to actually wade into the lake. But just like you experienced on days when it is dry, they try and go to where they feel they can without slipping down into the mud.
Also, we are in active construction until at least through mid-April. So we want to be cautious with people there. But afterward, we'd love to help do any kind of cleanup around the pond as well. Help organize that.
Thank you very much, and appreciate the update and the work you all are doing in partnering with the city. I would ask, and talked to Joanne the other day, as we get a little bit closer before they start filling back up, we'd ask you to work with the contractor to see if he would allow, or they would allow us to have city forces go in and pick up some of this in the area. Again, it's under the contractor, it's their insurance. We understand that there's liability. But we'd be interested in working with them to see if we can get into the areas before it goes filled back up. Our employees are covered under insurance, workman's comp, all of those other things. So we would commit to doing that if the contractor would allow us in the area.
We'll definitely follow up on that, and I'll follow up with Joanne directly.
Great, thank you.
Thank you all.
We thought it was important to bring an update for this project, as many people are passing by and obviously use the lake for exercise and for its aesthetics, to just let folks know what's going on with the project, how it's progressing, and that sort of thing. Now, our communications department has put together a video that helps put that in picture format.
They did.
Ms. Barr or Mr. Frost.
Here at Granville Goody Park, construction is underway to improve the water quality of Laurel Lake.
We're trying to keep it easy. I mean, we don't start too early. We created a temporary access to go around our site, and then just some sidewalk closure, traffic control for trucks coming in and out. We're on schedule to be completed around 1st of May.
The Laurel Lake Quality Project is going to use filters to keep the water clean and the environment healthy.
We're removing sediment, and we're creating a barrier so no more enters the lake. It's essentially a sediment trap. It'll be stone mattress, and there's wire. You fill the baskets in various gabion baskets.
Residents believe this project will have a positive impact for the community.
I've lived here for 21 years, and we've already gone through the small lake or pond for the sediment issue. And 2 years ago, it was all dirt. And so if this needs to get done, good. We need to have it done. It's going to help everybody, the environment, the ducks, the geese, the fish. They all need it too. So
Everything we're doing is to help. It's always the benefit for the lake.
For Laurel TV, I'm Audrey Widodo.
Excellent. Thank you. I do have just one question regarding the forebay. Just so I'm clear, and I may be the only one who's not clear on this, are now both the upper lake and the lower lake going to have forebays?
No, the upper lake, we did some work last year, but we just did landscape work. So we added some planting there that helps. Mm-hmm. That is not going to have a forebay. But the upper lake acts as a forebay to the larger lake.
Okay.
That's how it was originally designed.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you very much. We really appreciate you taking the time to come out and bring us up to date.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Agenda item 5 is the report of the Mayor and City Council, and we'll start tonight with Councilman DeWalt.
Good evening, everyone. I've always been a big proponent of the arts on Main Street, and I've followed them when they were introduced to Main Street, and they became a huge success. Just recently, we have 2 venues now with live music. We have More Than Java that's had live music and local music for a long time. And on the last 2 Fridays, Ragamuffins has had live music. And the last 2 Fridays at Ragamuffins, there was standing room only. They were packed to a full house of local musicians, guys playing guitars, a little bit of singing, things like that. And it was a huge success. And I would like to see if we could possibly get more venues, some of the restaurants, some of the bars, and now some of them are a little more difficult because they do serve alcohol. These 2 places do not serve alcohol, so they're governed by the Prince George's County Liquor Board. But it would be great to have live music even in where the farmers market is, or there's a big lot by Oliver's. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Shirley Wolford Bell. In 2005, her son, Brian Moses, was murdered in Laurel. And this case went unsolved for a long period of time until the hard work, the commitment, and the dedication by Detective Cheek. He, along with keeping Shirley notified of the progress of the case, was able to get enough probable cause to obtain a search warrant for this individual who they strongly believe killed Brian. And the first part of the trial was today. The second part of the trial will be tomorrow. So just keep Shirley in your thoughts and prayers. On January 31st, I attended St. Mary's, where the furloughed government workers were helped by the Archdiocese of Washington, D.C., the Catholic Charities in St. Mary's. They gave out over $30,000 for bills for furloughed workers. We also gave out 75 to 85 boxes of food to these workers. It was a huge success, and we actually ran out of money, and we ran out of food with about a half hour left to go in the event, so it was well attended. And on that same note, last week, Governor Hogan signed a bill that if the government workers do get furloughed and you live in the state of Maryland, you'll be able to collect unemployment. But you have to pay it back once you're paid, once you get the money back, which is going to be absolutely fabulous because at least they'll have some income coming in. The other thing Governor Hogan has done, and I followed through his career 4 years ago when he was elected, he instituted the Hometown Heroes Act. And what it is, it's a tax relief for retirees that are part of the military, first responders, police, fire, and he added correctional officers. And it's been approved up to $15,000 of your retirement, your state retirement is tax-free now. And 2 weeks ago in Annapolis, in a fire department, he is enhancing that Hometown Heroes Act, and he's trying to get 100% of your taxes if you're a military veteran, if you're a first responder, police, fire, and rescue. That's all my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman DeWalt. Councilman Sidnor.
Thank you, Mr. President. On February 23rd, I attended an event, a workshop, the Laurel Helping Hands. The purpose of this event was to engage 16 to 24 years old who's not in college, not working, and not in school. And so we had a workshop to find out how to recruit these individuals to get them productive in society. So Laurel Helping Hands, if anyone out there knows someone to fit that description between ages 16 and 24 years old, once again, they're not employed, they're not in school, they can go to 422 Montgomery Street and talk to the staff there and get enrolled in this program. Also, another vendor was there from Keys Career Program. Keys stand for Knowledge Equals Youth Success. And they're having a workshop on March the 7th. And this workshop is for 18 to 24-year-olds who has a high school diploma or a GED, but they're not working, and they want to help them get jobs. This is a federal funded program. So once again, this program is on March the 7th. It's going to be at 1801 McCormick Drive, Suite 140, Largo, Maryland. I have the flyer. I'll give it to the communication department. They maybe can post it on the city website. I think it's an excellent program once again. So there's two programs out there for our young folks between 18 and 24 years old. 16 to 24 and 18 to 24, because that's the age that a lot of folks get in trouble because they kind of like trying to find out what they want to do with their lives. And with these programs, can put them something in place for them, and they can be more productive and make our communities more safer. So that concludes my report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Sidnor. Councilwoman Nicholas.
Thank you. I too attended the Laurel Helping Hands event that was at the Partnership Hall. Great event. It's a great program, and I just encourage parents to really look into that if their kids need assistance. I also attended the speed networking last Thursday. I'd like to compliment Leah Steele and the Economic Development Department for putting on such a great program. It was well attended. I think that was the second one, and there's a lot of buzz about it in the city. People really enjoy that. The other thing, yesterday, myself and Dr. Hall, who's the interim president at Laurel Medical Center, we went over to the City of Zion Church. She spoke and gave an update to the congregation over there. And then after that, we went over to the Laurel Museum. We went to see the exhibits. Is there a doctor in the house? Outstanding exhibit. I actually posted some things on Facebook, and I would just encourage people that who has not been to see it. It's really worth seeing. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilman Les.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to mention, we had a couple of snows here. We had some people in the old part of Laurel that had snow blowers, and they went ahead and cleared the sidewalks for their neighbors. It's an example of neighbors helping neighbors. And just remember that if you have an elderly couple living next to you, and you're able, go knock on the door and see if you can help them clear their sidewalk. There's a lot of people that are aging in place in Laurel now, and it's important. It's hard for them to find somebody to come and pay even to shovel. So if we get another snow, and we're probably going to get at least one more, don't forget your neighbors. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Les. Mayor Mo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple things. I want to congratulate and thank those that came tonight from the Education Committee. Thank Council for their confirmation. In particular, I want to thank Joe Murchison, who agreed to be the chair. Joe is the founder of Side by Side, works hard here in the city of Laurel and the greater Laurel area, and I think will be a great asset as the chair. Also, Zabrina Epps, who's here. Actually, her husband Sam's here, member of the Board of Trustees. I'm going to give you a little blurb. Board of Trustees for the Laurel Library and the library system. Beautiful building, Sam. We want to again acknowledge and thank you for that. But the Zabrina Epps is a former former school board representative for the Laurel area, has agreed to be the vice chair. And again, I want to thank her for all her work that she's done in the community long before she accepted this vice chairmanship. So to both of them, thank you, and to the members who are here tonight and those who couldn't be here. We look forward to working with them as they get up and established. I did have the opportunity to meet with Dr. Hull today on an update regarding the hospital system. Last week, had the opportunity to meet with County Executive Pittman from Anne Arundel County and talk about a couple issues, but more importantly, just to put a face with the name. Quite frankly, as those know, he's a new county executive for Anne Arundel, and it was a pleasure meeting with them, and we look forward to working with them. The speed networking, again, I want to thank Robert, thank you and your staff for the hard work. It was a great opportunity for people to come together, probably, 50, 60 people in that area. Again, I want to thank all those that came out. Thank you for the opportunity to bring greetings. We are getting quite a few inquiries and people that are very happy with the stop signs that we've placed in and around the city of Laurel, the LED stop signs. We are looking at a few others to try to highlight some of our areas that have high pedestrian or issues of speed. We've also placed more speed indicators around the city as well. And I want to thank Public Works and the Police Department for that. We've got a program, and I think you all have a program as well. And also, I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that the Laurel Arts Council is up and running. They are doing great work for the city. They have their year in review, which is online, and you can go to their website, which you can get off of the link off of ours, and see all of the things that they've done. On February the 16th, I did have the opportunity to attend Cub Scout Pack 1250, their blue and gold banquet, and thank them for the invitation and congratulate all those award recipients. The Municipal Leaders Breakfast, which was hosted by our County Executive, Angela Alsabrooks. I want to thank her for the opportunity to sit and talk with all the different mayors around the county. And she understands the different needs that municipalities have, and we look forward to working with her as well. And on the 21st, did have the opportunity to attend the Prince George County Municipal Association, myself and the city administrator, which was hosted by the town of Riverdale Park. A lot of good information that was brought out at that meeting. Several people came and discussed several different things that I think are beneficial to the municipalities around the county as well. On March the 3rd, Sunday, March the 3rd, from 1 to 4, the City of Laurel's annual open house here at the Laurel Municipal Center will take place. We want to encourage you to stop by. And that's, again, Sunday, March the 3rd, from 1 to 4. Do you have anything? I'm going to do this out here.
Mayor, as you mentioned, the safety program that the council will be kicking off is a program the council started several years ago, Keep Kids Alive, Drive 25. We will be distributing posters and signs around the community to remind motorists to slow down. Speed limit through our neighborhoods is 25 miles an hour. And this campaign, we will be going out to homeowner associations, PTA meetings, et cetera, to talk about the program and to encourage people to obey the posted speed limits around the city. We have not had thank God, had a fatality in quite some time that I'm aware of, and we want to keep it that way. So we'd like to encourage folks, in addition to the program that the mayor mentioned, our police department is putting on, the council's doing its part also in bringing awareness to speeding around the city. Mayor?
I'm going to ask the council president to join me down below. We're going to honor some individuals. I did want to point out, I did forget in my notes, we did have a house fire here in the city of Laurel this morning, on Laurelton Drive. Fire department responded quickly, and the rescue squad and others. And although there were 2 individuals that were inside and they were transported, and we just want to remind everyone to again check smoke detectors. If you have sprinklers in your house, make sure that they've been looked at and had the maintenance on them that's needed. So if you'll join me down, she's considered. We can, if council wants to come down as well, we're going to ask Mr. and Mrs. Kim to come forward. That's you. And yeah, family. Come up right here. So we have a Mayoral citation that we want to present to the Kim family in deepest appreciation for 28 years of excellent service to the greater Laurel area and for always making us look clean and sharp. Clean and sharp at Laurel's Family Tailor and Cleaners. The Kim family's many years of service and friendship to the greater Laurel area has not gone unnoticed. On behalf of the Mayor and City Council, the city staff, residents, and business community, we wish you the very best on your planned retirement and many ventures life has in store for you both. We want to present this citation. We have a couple other citations, presentations as well. Whoops. So we have absolutely. We have a couple other presentations. Fred is going to present you with some roses there, Ms. Kim. And then he's got another presentation, but I'm going to ask him to say a few words on behalf of the council. When I heard that, I've been going to Mr. and Mrs. Kim for 29 years, I guess, longer now. They have been a great asset to this community. They have done a lot of things for the community and organizations that people don't see when we talk about cleaning and taking care of the different needs of many organizations that needed cleaning and tailoring. So when I found out that somebody called and said, Mr. and Mrs. Kim are closing their store. And I said, no, they're not. I was just there. And I went back a day later. They said, yes, we're retiring. And they had a letter in the mail to me as well as many others. They will be greatly missed. And I'm going to ask our council president to make a presentation in a few words, and then we'll ask Mr. and Mrs. Kim. No crying. Here's a no cry zone. All right.
This is an honor for me, Mr. and Mrs. Kim. You have been a staple in this community. You've been someone who, as the mayor stated, has been there at just about every event. You've quietly worked in the background to support a number of efforts throughout the city. It's sad to see you go, but we know that you're going on to enjoy some of the finer things and the fruits of your labor. So with that said, on behalf of the mayor and city council, I'd like to present you with this small token. And I say small token because it can express how much the city appreciates everything that you've done for the city. We appreciate it. Thank
you. Mr. Kim, it's all yours. Come on up. Come on this.
I would like to say something brief. 28 years ago, this journey began with the hope of creating a home and a legacy. Within the midst of that journey, my family and I blessed with a loving and caring community. Every individual in this community has helped make this journey a joyous and fun ride. You all have also helped shape our lives and hone his life into what it is today. To the people of Laurel, thank you for welcoming us into your community and home and lives. I hope our legacy as a community and family will continue to flourish. Thank you.
I should say, Mr. Kim, you're still going to own the building and the property. And there's a new, they've already got it filled. So I maybe shouldn't say anything, but you've already got it filled, right? The building, where you're at now. You've already got somebody coming in there. A new store.
Yeah.
So thank you all very much. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
While the mayor is coming back to the dais, I'd like to recognize former Mayor Robert DiPietro, who has joined us for a meeting. Agenda item 6 is the report of the city administrator. Mr. Goddard.
Thank you, Mr. President. Certainly has been a busy month, snowy month for the city. And I want to take the opportunity to thank all of our department heads and city staff for all the hard work, not only during the event, but certainly for the entire month. And I also want to thank those who staffed the Emergency Operations Center during the storm. And remind the viewing public that even though the city government may be closed during a significant inclement weather event, our Emergency Operations Center is always open. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week during the event. And it's available to respond to any need that our community has. So while the government offices may be closed, in this case, government offices were closed, but when we turned around, everybody was here. Every single department head was here when we closed the government. I think it once again shows the passion that these folks have for our city. Tonight is our second video in a series of presentations that will take you behind the scenes to see some of these great people. Those individuals that really love what it is we do here in the city. But before we bring up Chief Gray to share with you the behind the scenes in the police department, I just want to run through a couple highlights of what we've done for the past month. And I say highlights because I ask all the department heads to provide me with a briefing of items that I can share with the council about what they've accomplished over the last month. And if I were to share with you each and every one of those, we would be here this time tomorrow night. So I just carve a few of those out to share with you, and it's certainly not totally inclusive. Our information technology group has upgraded our public safety radio system to the latest software and created encrypted channels for our police department to be able to communicate in private during certain events, which is tremendously important. We have begun the upgrade transition to our new permit software system back in our fire marshal's office, so we'll allow a lot of things to be done online, as well as our inspectors to be able to inspect systems on iPads, automatically goes into the system, automatically sends a bill, automatically tracks and ties into our finance system. And the IT department is also upgrading the camera monitors in the police department dispatch system. Economic development, as was mentioned earlier, last Thursday's evening, they hosted the speed networking event for our business owners. Very well attend. Another event is being planned for the end of the summer, correct, Rob? Small Business Resource Fair will be held in April 18th, from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Laurel Branch Library. Our finance and human resources, our finance department, as everyone knows, in January and February, they go into hiding and hibernation as they work through this whole budget process. I don't know how they do it. They keep a good smile on their face. They're always very collegial in spite of the fact that they're digging deep in. The challenge this year has been, we'll share that with you during the budget presentation, some of the challenges they've been confronted with. On-site professional development, I want to thank Michelle. She has worked with groups to bring in professional training webinars to our employees. We had a webinar this afternoon about effective communications with employees and each other. We do that on a regular basis. Michelle works with different vendors to do these short webinars, abbreviated webinars, I guess we would call it. And they're really on-site sessions that share with our employees, all of our employees, the various aspects of whether it's professional management, communications, customer service. But as we identify ones that we like, we can have a full seminar, a full day activity for those. So I want to thank Michelle and her staff that even though they're working very hard on the budget, they're continually working behind the scenes to provide training programs for all of our employees. The police department, you're going to hear from them shortly. The community policing unit participated in the car safety seat event at the Laurel Rescue Squad. Officers participated in the polar bear plunge for Special Olympics on January 25th, and I know that's near and dear to the heart of Councilmember DeWalt, who participates as a part of the Special Olympics program and has for many, many years. I keep telling people a couple more points on the test. You could have been a firefighter and you wouldn't have had to jump in the water in the middle of January and February for Special Olympics. We just stand on a street corner and collect money. A lot easier. Agency personnel were trained by the Maryland Police Training Commission on the newly mandated community policing annual report, which is required on an annual basis. Our park and rec, the 15 tree swallow houses, which is just exploding and this program has taken off the Art for the Birds project. They had a recent event down at the lake, and there are more people interested in these bird houses than there are bird houses to put up. Congratulations to who would have known that would have taken on a life of its own. They offer 2 free Friday night movies at Partnership Activity Hall, and our Laurel Helping Hands sponsored a community workshop. I'm plugged in to provide information on how to identify disconnected youth in our community and provide information on available resources to help. That is just a small snapshot. I've got the park and rec. I've got the public works. It just goes on, and the tons and tons of refuge that they collect. We're just so proud of the employees here. So what we do is we do these sessions. Tonight is the second video, and we will share a video every month of all of our departments. And Deputy Chief Gray, if you'd like to come up, tonight is sharing behind the scenes of our Laurel Police Department. Are there any questions? I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goddard. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, members of the council, fellow department head. Laurel Police Department has enjoyed a long history of serving the great citizens of the city of Laurel. To that end, we have a video we want to show you. We'll give you a small sample size of some of the things that we actually get involved in. So without further ado, hello, I'm Deputy Chief Kevin Gray of the Laurel Police Department. Laurel Police Department employs 70 certified police officers with 21 civilians. Our department's responsibility is to patrol a 4.4 square miles of the city limits. We service about 26,000 citizens in the city of Laurel. Our goal is to make sure that we employ a process of community policing. 21st century policing involves the community and the police department working hand in hand to resolve issues.
My name is Lieutenant Eric Lynn with the Laurel City Police Department. My current role is the patrol commander with the police department. Our patrol division is the largest division within the police department. Our patrol officers are the officers that you would see responding to calls on a daily basis. They would be the first officers that you see when you do call the police for help. As you can see behind me, we have all of our Axon body cameras docked. All of our officers with the Laurel Police Department are outfitted with these cameras so that every interaction they have with the citizens of Laurel or visitors of Laurel are recorded. I'm also the commander of the Laurel Emergency Response Team, which is a SWAT team for the city of Laurel. Their responsibilities would be to serve search and seizure warrants, as well as to handle any calls that might be beyond the scope for a normal patrol officer. An example would be a hostage barricade situation or something of that nature, which would need officers with a little bit more training than a regular patrol officer and more advanced equipment.
Hi, I'm Detective Kevin Filinick with the Laurel Police Department's Criminal Investigations Division. The Criminal Investigation Division, commonly referred to as CID, consists of 6 on-call detectives. CID detectives are assigned to investigate violent and non-violent felonies. In 2018, 250 cases were assigned to the Criminal Investigations Division. Within the first 6 weeks of 2019, detectives have made 5 arrests, obtained 8 arrest warrants, conducted 22 search and seizure warrants, and closed, with exceptional clearances, 14 cases.
I'm Corporal Morozic with the Laurel Police Department. I've been a member of the police department for almost 18 years. This is my partner, K9 Rec. I've been in the K9 unit for 13 years that I've been with the police department. Our canine unit, it consists of 5 canine teams. All of our dogs are dual purpose, narcotics, and patrol trained, which means they can track people. They can locate evidence. They search buildings to look for suspects, should we have a suspect in a building somewhere.
When I typically come in, I like to drive my beat area just to make sure everything's in order, pretty much, as far as cars not being parked where they're not supposed to be, make sure the children are getting on the bus, nobody's passing the bus stop. Even though we're small, we're pretty much a family. Laurel's pretty busy. You can get any kind of call that your normal big county agencies will get, and that's what I like here. We handle our own calls. We have our different divisions.
Hi, I'm Corporal Johnson, and I'm with the Laurel City Police Department. I'm a member of the Community Policing Unit, and I like to think of the Community Policing Unit as building a bridge between the police department and the community. More so building a bond, a pact, a trust, a relationship, so to speak. That's why I chose to speak here at the Partnership Activity Center, because in this building here, we have meetings for the entire community. They come together as a whole to help form ideas and stuff like that. Community policing is also a way of being more proactive, a more proactive way of policing. Most of the time, we think of policing as reacting. When something happens, you call the police, and we come out and we do something about it. Community policing is the best. I really do enjoy doing it, especially riding my Segway here. The reason why I ride the Segway is because it's a more friendly approach towards the community. You know, instead of me hiding behind my car all around me, which is also a good way to patrol, but the Segway, I can always just step off, walk up, and shake a hand or two, talk to a little kid, reach inside, pull out a lollipop, and talk.
We here in the Laurel Police Department face many challenges. Our confidence in order to face those challenges is magnified by the fact that we know we've got full support from the mayor and city council as they provide us with the resources and make sure that we do our jobs and do it in an efficient manner. Thank you. If I might just leave you with one last comment. If you see something, say something. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mr. Goddard. We'll move to agenda item 7, a general public hearing. I'll open the public hearing at 7:52. I have 2 people signed up to speak. Okay, all right, I thought so. Walter Oliver, is that correct? Oh, okay. So we have no one else signed up to speak. Is there anyone else who would like to speak during the general public hearing? Seeing no one, I'll close the general public hearing at 7:53. Agenda item 7 is the second public hearing with possible action on resolution number 2-19, a resolution of the mayor and city council to establish a task force to explore the possibility of creating a no-kill community animal shelter within the city of Laurel. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open the public hearing at 7:53. I have no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this agenda item? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:53. Mayor Mo, any comments before I call for the vote?
No, we changed. No, we're already on. We did.
Okay, all right. With that, council, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President,
Councilman Les?
move for approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Nicholas. Any discussion? Ms. Rao, please call the roll.
Mr. Les?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt?
Yes.
Mr. Sidnor?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mayor Mo?
I'll concur and would ask council if they have any suggestions. Those that would like to serve, please send me that information. And well as those that may be listening at home, now is the time to submit some information. We've had quite a few phone calls. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes our agenda. Is there any other business to come before the mayor and city council? Seeing none, our meeting's closed. Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Well, you did.